Our children and youth are living in a world that is increasingly interdependent. It is very important for all of us to understand this world in which we live. And global education is an avenue to provide an opportunity to acquire that knowledge, those skills, and that understanding.
I think an educational system which doesn't recognize the importance of global education is an incomplete education. It's not providing a service to our students and providing the kind of perspective that we'd like them to have.
I'm looking for students to be thinking and reacting and responding and reflecting on someone besides themselves.
And a terrific example of a resource are the Peace Corps Coverdell Worldwide Schools, which provide ready-made and very easy-to-use instructional resources for any teachers to bring the world to the schools.
We're competing now with the children sitting in classes in China, in India, in Japan, in Singapore, in Finland, which is recognized as one of the best educational programs in the world. So we're competing in a very different environment that we have. We stripped away those borders.
Global competency is a 21st century skill, and it is therefore the right of every child to have the opportunity to develop skills that are fundamental to their ability to participate as citizens, and it is also their right to develop the skills that would allow them to have decent jobs and the opportunity to earn a living in an economy that is increasingly interdependent with the rest of the world.
The Worldwide Schools curriculum and lesson plans offer teachers a wonderful resource to infuse different perspectives and understandings of global issues and cultural differences into the subjects that they're already teaching.
A teacher can go on and you can find a video about a place, you can look at a slideshow, you can read a story, you can do a correspondence match.
I think the correspondence match program is a great opportunity for students to learn about other cultures and other countries, not per se from their textbook, but from someone who's actually been there and someone who they can relate to that's like them from the United States.
It kind of reaches out to every modality of learning, and so students that fall in any category of a learner can find something in the Worldwise to connect to.
So a language arts teacher might look at nonfiction essays as a more authentic experience for students, whereas a science teacher could pull in the same essays and see how that they fit in with the different science investigation that's going on in the classroom.
Over the course of my 8 years, I've seen a lot of different ways that teachers have incorporated those materials into kind of every aspect of a lesson that you could teach.
A 21st century learner needs to be immersed in a student-driven or student-centered instructional program. And so the Worldwide curriculum fits into that very well. The essays and lesson plans and components that are on the web, like virtual games and newsletter.
There are materials at different grade levels, so you can find something that's appropriate for individual students. And the material is so engaging and interesting. Kids just love learning about other parts of the world and the people that live in them.
But there is a serious food issue going on in Senegal right now.
The lesson plans are thoughtful. They follow an understanding by design model, which is a move that we're all making as schools. They provide teachers with an example of how a lesson should look so that not only students are learning content, but they're also learning a skill.
For one thing, they're not just memorizing a fact or learning a certain detail that doesn't connect to anything else. All of the stories and the lesson plans are interdisciplinary, so they're thinking about content in more than one way.
It's up to date. These are issues that are happening right now. They're real people in real places, and unfortunately when a student opens a textbook, it automatically drops down the level of engagement because it's in a book.
It gives my students a way to connect with the world that I couldn't provide without it.
With the Worldwide materials, they understand that these are real things and that there's a big world out there, and that oftentimes they'll be compelled to take action and to continue learning and look for ways to learn that are very relevant.
Historically, the Peace Corps volunteers have this wonderful, varied and deep and rich experience when they serve overseas. And so the idea is to bring this back home and to better explain to the rest of American society about the cultures they have experienced and where they've lived and worked with people and worked with them side by side.
One of the things that we've really been trying to emphasize with our teachers and our students is the idea of service learning.
Good educators have always known that high-quality education is about academic excellence, but it's also about developing the abilities to participate in their communities, in the country, in the world, to engage with others in doing that.
And what they help teachers do is see how service learning and community service don't have to take place in your backyard. How a bigger goal of service learning should be to connect with a global issue or another community in another part of the world.
And I think the Peace Corps volunteers that have written the stories and put together slideshows, they really model that reflective learning in an incredible way.
One of the benefits that the materials provided by the Coverdell worldwide schools offer teachers and students is that they bring the world to the schools.
With the Peace Corps Speakers Match, we're incredibly excited about the opportunity to work with the Peace Corps and to bring in speakers to every grade level as often as we can.
They bring the work of young volunteers who are working in solving real problems, whether it is trying to find water, provide water for communities, protecting communities from mosquito bites, or creating solutions to solve real problems. They provide authentic examples.
Just the opportunity for students to see that these are real people going out and doing real things that are making a real difference is incredibly powerful and empowering. What the Peace Corps has created is a launching point for people to make curriculum their own, for people to find bits and pieces of videos and readings and turn it into something that they envision that their students need.
Whether it's an English class or social studies class, whether it's in community service programs, whether it's at the high school, middle school, wherever it may be, the concept of global education is about going from cultural awareness to cultural competency.
And it activates this sense, it begins to develop this sense of global responsibility, if you want, of planetary citizenship for many of them.
We're incredibly grateful that the Peace Corps has spent time to create these materials that reach a wide audience and that provide teachers with very tangible, easy, compelling, engaging materials.
The best part about the Worldwide Schools resources is that they are free and teachers can go online and find exactly what they need.
I think it doesn't matter what you're teaching, you can find materials, and it's a resource you do not want to pass up.